Hello, welcome to the Anime Watchlist podcast.
This podcast does contain spoilers, so continue watching at your own discretion.
We should probably say our names. Hi, I'm Ian.
I'm Emily.
Yeah, and I'm Aiden.
This week we are discussing Violet Evergarden. It was a light novel written by, Kana Akatsuki with illustrations by Akiko Takahashi. Now, do you guys know what a light novel is?
No clue.
No, I don't heard of
I'm
it,
best
but,
friends with both of the people you mentioned, though.
Yeah, for sure.
Go way back.
A light novel is like, it's like a book that you can just pick up. It's like maybe 100 pages long. It's specific.
So
it's way more
light.
popular in Japan because it's light. Yeah. So in Japan, a novel is a brick, like 400 pages, like a book. So a light novel would be a light book, like a light read. So yeah, let's get into it. So man, we watched the first 6 episodes of the first, or I guess it's the only season of the Violet Evergarden, and the Violet Evergarden. I think it's just,
yeah, me and Emily went in blind, but Ian has seen it. Or you saw? When did you say you saw it?
I saw it early this year. Me and my grandma got interested, and so we watched the first 4 episodes of this series.
Gotcha. So the last 2 were new to you then?
The last 2 were new to me. And we're going to talk about how this episode just went over my head. But so we open up on a market with our titular character, Violet Evergarden, finding a brooch. And
oh, yeah, that's right. The gem thing.
Yeah, the brooch. Yeah. So for those who don't know, we put off the recording for like 2 weeks. They're like 2 weeks behind on this because a bunch of stuff came up. So if you hear a lot of, yeah. That's what
I legit don't remember like the majority of what happened, but it'll come back.
Yeah, what were you guys' like reactions to first seeing the show though? Like, what were your like thoughts and stuff like that? Because I had no idea what I was getting into when I started watching it.
Well, I actually
the eyes.
Yes, oh my goodness, the eyes. But I actually saw it on Netflix, like in my recommended or like whatever, and I was like scrolling through whatever. I saw it like several weeks before we decided to do Violet Evergarden, and I put in my watch list because I really wanted to watch it because it looked pretty cool, but I knew nothing about it. But yeah, when I first watched the episode, oh my goodness, the eyes and just the brooch, oh my goodness, it's so pretty.
Yeah, so
yeah, the whole show is. I agree.
Kyoto Animation is stellar at their shows that they do. Some of the shows that they did was let me pull up a list actually. So some of you guys, I don't think you guys know these, but they've done stuff like The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya, Lucky Star, Clannad After Story, and Clannad Keion, Nichijou, Love Chunibyo, and Other Delusions.
I actually know a couple of those, and I'm not really a huge weeb.
Yeah, you're a milder. I don't think you guys know this one, but they also did Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, which I thought was really good.
Yeah, I don't know that one.
Yeah. So yeah, they have some really stellar stuff, and sadly, not too long ago, on July 18th, 2019, there was an arson attack on them. It was
what?
Yeah. It was a very sad part of the anime community, but they've recovered and they're now working on some new stuff. So that'd be nice to see what come out with. Yeah. Yeah. So we open up on the market to get back to that. Yeah. So Violet Evergarden is Violet. She's following Major Gilbert. I love these names, by the way. Gilbert Bougainvillea.
Yeah, like the flower. I noticed there were some things with that, with like flowers and.
Oh yeah, because there's also the.
Well, yeah, I guess violet. That kind of is a given.
Yeah. But
and then I just find it funny that the love interest, at least I don't know if you call him that, but the point is his name is Gilbert, and I can't get over that.
I wouldn't call it a love interest. I would not.
Yeah, not really.
No,
Yeah, that's not the right
phrase. It's totally good though.
Well, dead love
Emily, did
interest.
you not
I mean,
catch
like...
the part where they told us her age in episode 6? Episode 5?
I know. Okay,
no,
no.
Emily, no.
What?
Don't
all
do
of
this.
episode 5 was sus when it comes to age gaps, anyways. Which
Yeah, see, like, okay, they could make it have a huge age gap, which would be annoying, but it's like a total possibility.
But like, okay, so again, we haven't finished the show, but like, I feel like
No,
Gilbert's dead, right?
it's a,
Isn't that a thing? So
Yeah.
how can he be?
Okay, but did you guys hear how she talked about?
It's a father figure. When she said "I love you," it's a father figure. Like,
are you sure?
Oh wait, you're
Did you hear what she said in episode 6?
That's not. No, it's not a father figure. I didn't realize that's.
It's really. There's no way. Like, I mean, I want it to be, but there's no way.
Because throughout the episodes that we've seen, they start off in the first episode, right, where she wants to know what "I love you" means, but then in the next several episodes they compare it with other romantic examples, so that would just make all of those themes fall flat if it was just like, oh yeah, fatherly and daughter relationship.
Yeah, and throughout the past few episodes, there have been various other people worrying about their own relationships, and so it wouldn't make sense for them to be talking about all of these different situations involving romance, and then all of a sudden
14. She's 14.
Okay. Well, the girl that got married in episode 6 was 14 as well, and she loved the guy 10 years older than him.
Yeah.
Her?
Yeah.
What time period is it in, actually? Do we know? I think there's kind of a mystery around the world building of what the time period and all that is.
Yeah.
Although you could probably make an educated guess if you were smart about history, which I am not.
Yeah, I would say mid 1800s. It would be based off of the technology that they currently have, because typewriters has been a recent invention.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because okay. So
when I was younger, we didn't have typewriters.
Actual first episode.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we can.
But yeah, so we have that, and then we open up. She's in the hospital, and her hands are bandaged up, which I think. Who else was shocked when she took the bandages off?
I was.
Yeah, because
metal arm, it's cool.
Yeah. Full metal arms. You guys have seen Full Metal Alchemist, have you?
No.
I've seen bits and pieces, but anyways.
Okay.
Yeah, it felt to me like the first episode was mostly just setting up her obsession with Gilbert, it's
not like you guys saying obsession, but I mean, it's much more of she is
100% obsessed with him, bro.
She doesn't even know what love means. She's just she was a killing machine.
Yeah,
okay, well, doesn't mean she can't experience love. She just doesn't know what it is.
Yeah.
And we will get more to that from the episode episode 6 that I feel like it kind of goes deeper into that.
Mm.
But I do like the premise of having a character who doesn't understand emotions. I think that's really cool. And
having the job that she gets, it's so interesting to see her be in all these situations and learn about emotions and what it means in different situations.
Right. Yeah. So
yeah, I think it's just a total twist on the genre because you take a shoujo anime that's focused on the concept of love, and it's
I would say this one's much more of a seinen show. It has much more adult themes than a shoujo.
What's the difference? I've never heard. What did you say? Seinen?
Seinen. Well, okay, so the way it goes is shonen is for young boys, think Dragon Ball, My Hero Academia, that stuff. And shoujo would be much more orange. I don't want to say Sailor Moon, because that has a lot of shonen elements. But
that's essentially Sailor Moon's 100% a shoujo, right?
It has a lot of battles though. Think Lucky Stars. You know what Lucky Stars is.
I do know what Lucky Stars.
Girls doing cute things is how I would put it. Shoujo.
I mean, those are the extreme.
Yeah, and then seinen and then Shoujo is the upgraded versions. So we're like shonen and shoujo means young boy and young girl respectively. Seinen and Shoujo means adult, or like how R is like young adult, like upper, like our age, and that's more of our age or more adult.
Gotcha. I always just grouped them in the same, like just different versions of shoujo and shonen, but it's good. I never knew there were more.
Right, it's like saying something is like PG to PG-13 is how I would say it. Yeah, it's like yeah.
Regardless, what was the? Yeah, no, I think it's cool that like you take a story or an anime that's talking all about love and different like people's relationships and stuff like that, and you make the main character somebody who doesn't understand emotions. That's like a really cool concept to me.
Yeah, it's also really cool that she's
intriguing.
An amputee. So I don't think there's
robot
a lot of
arms.
Robot arms. Yeah, I don't think there's a lot of amputee representation in anime, I would say. Because like every time
usually taken in a more like, oh, this guy's cool, he has a metal arm, not like oh, this person can't do things as well because they have an amputee. So I think I see what you're saying.
Like I think it views it a bit more serious in the fact that it's like it puts more weight on like it on it plot wise. Because if you like watch like I don't know about Naruto, but definitely Dragon Ball, if a character loses an arm, they can just grow it back almost. Like it's like it doesn't carry weight story wise, I would say.
Yeah, that's how Attack on Titan is. Wait, oh, it's been like only a few weeks since I watched episode 1. What?
And you don't remember it?
Episode?
So next episode we're gonna watch Attack on Titan.
Yes.
No, I'm good.
We're watch all Attack on Titan. Go.
Oh gosh. All right. So
what did you think of the first episode, Emily? Since me and Ian kind of talked about it for a while.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Oh, of Violet Evergarden, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was mostly just like amazed by the animation. That's mostly what I was thinking about throughout the whole episode. But I was also wondering like I was wondering why she was so set on fighting and like getting back into the war, and like I was also thinking about if she had a traumatic childhood. At this point I knew nothing about the show, so I didn't know how her childhood was.
Right, yeah. I mean, I don't think we don't get her backstory except for the fact that she was, what was it, episode 4? No, episode 2 or 3, I think.
I think it was 2 or 3.
3. It was shown that she was given to Gilbert as a gift.
I think it's cool the way the show kind of slowly feeds information to you. You know,
that's
like you're
cool
just
and all,
watching things happen.
But what the heck?
Here's your cat in a box, except it's a human.
That was my reaction. Yeah. So.
No, yeah, I do agree though, Emily, with the animation and the music and all that. It's just like in terms of presentation, watching it is just nice because
that was my next comment. I don't know if I said it earlier, but I love the music.
Yeah, I'd say the sound design is stellar in this.
I haven't caught on to any like specific leitmotifs or stuff like, you know, character themes and things like that. So I'm gonna have to listen to the soundtrack at some point. All I remember is just enjoying whenever the music would be on, just being like, yo, but that's all I remember.
I think it's definitely something that I would put the soundtrack on if I was working. Because it's very good orchestral music. But
I want to figure out how to play it on my instrument, but I doubt it'll happen.
Yeah. So we get introduced to in the male, because guys, we've seen this. So people who listen might not have seen this.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So introduced to this man. What was his name? Why am I forgetting his name?
The
Colonel Hodgins. Colonel Hodgins, the president.
He gives her the stuffed animal.
Oh yeah, no, I love that. All right, so for that though, the hospital scene, I loved. It was such a small thing too, is the fact that she asked, "Is he alive? Is the war still going on?" And his face kept the same, but you can tell by his hands and the way they were moving, like the colonel is dead. Gilbert is dead. Like you can totally tell from there. it was just like subtle things. Because I don't think that's something that you can get across very well in animation. Like that's why I think a lot of people have that stigma with like the huge actions and like the all that.
Yeah.
Whereas I think this one, they do a great job at just like showing the subtle changes in people in animation.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I didn't notice that. That's interesting. I'll have to pay attention to that next time I watch.
Oh, you know, I just think I just like the subtle character movements. I really enjoy when they do it right.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and so go
I
ahead.
remember they start and finish the episode with the brooch. Like that's the introduction.
Yeah,
and the resolution.
The major buys it at the market.
Mm-hmm.
And
So,
oh my goodness, that brooch, so beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, man.
I wonder if it's like if there's some sort of like symbolization in that, because I mean, if there is, it went over my head as of now. But I wonder if it'll
it's
come
part of
back
her
later.
outfit. It's part of her normal outfit. Like once the show
Yeah.
gets going, she wears it on her neck.
Exactly. It makes me want to think like they could use it to represent how, she's not letting go of wanting to be with the major, like because she's. But I could be reading into things. It's just they do place an importance on it, so it makes me.
Well, yeah, it does represent him, and like it's all she has left of him, so it's obviously very important to her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, we're also so she gets her stuff back, and she finds that the brooch is gone. She can't find it, and she makes a big deal about it, right?
Yeah, see, so it's very important to her. It's all she has left.
Yeah, it's very important to her. And in this hospital scene, she's writing a letter, already like showing her interest of like writing things to people. She's trying to like write back to the major.
Oh,
Like
that's a good point.
Yeah, so she's there. I might be reading too much into this, but yeah, I think
I remember
cool.
that.
Yeah.
No, it makes sense because it shows why she was so interested in doing the what's it called?
Auto memory doll.
Memory doll.
Yeah, that thing.
Yeah, the main part of the story.
Yeah, that I happen to blank on in this moment.
Yeah, yeah. So I just think it's really cool because I think if I go back and listen to it, you can hear the clinking of her metal as she writes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can.
A lot of detail in the whole show.
Oh yeah, I just think that's a really cool like little detail that they put in. So when they get out of the hospital, I don't know why am I blanking on it. Then yeah, I guess hospital.
So something
something or other. But the letter blows away, right? And it does that thing where it like blows across the countryside to the city and all that, right? But I just think that it was the water when it like went by the water.
If you don't, the water.
Yeah,
and
something
the tea too. Just
the
all
tea,
the
yeah.
in the
Something that a lot of anime fails at. This show does amazing with like character and just like liquids in general. Does amazing. But yeah, that was just a beautiful like cut and scene and all that. But in the car, that was probably one of my favorite character moments for Gilbert, not Gilbert, Hodgins. For Hodgins, because he, what was the three stuffed animals?
I don't remember.
It was
a dog.
I want to say a rabbit because that seems pretty stereotypical, but maybe not.
Yeah.
It was a dog, a bear, and a dragon. This is factual, and you can't change my mind.
I'm actually looking it up. I'm looking it up right now.
If you get it right, Aid, I'm going to be proud of you.
Yeah.
There was no dragon, I'm sure about that one.
No, it was a dog, a black cat, and a bunny in a t-shirt.
Oh,
hey, you got the money though.
Yeah, and so when Hodgins goes, pick one, and Violet goes, I don't know what to pick. He just goes 3, 2, 1, pick, and she just picks the dog, and I just think that's so good.
Why?
It was a good character building moment. I don't know. I just really like that.
It does do a good job at showing how like aloof she is, I think, at the very beginning.
Yeah, because do you guys remember what she said to why'd you choose the dog? Do you guys remember what she said?
Oh
No.
no, I remember that discussion, but I don't remember what she said.
Oh yeah, it was. And now I can't remember it. Oh
Oh,
crap!
I thought you knew. I thought you were gonna be like, well,
No,
this is
Yeah,
what
I
she
thought you were like,
said,
oh, here's what she said, and here, no.
no.
and that's why I thought it was such a good character building moment.
It okay. Oh no, I think it was. It reminded me of the major.
I don't
I think
know.
that's what you said. Oh, okay. I'm sorry
That's
for first time
not
listeners.
right.
This is very bad. Oh man. Okay. So they get to the city of what's that city called? Because city of Leiden, the capital city of Leiden, and they he introduces Gilbert brings Violet to a house which is adopted by the Evergarden family, and we never see them again in the next 6 episodes.
Yeah, I know, right? Like I thought about that. I was like, that's
Like
those
it's
were
such a
people
big
at one point.
part. Like as the Evergarden family, it's half the title right there, the Evergardens. And it's just this one lady mentions that her son died in the war, and then we get to see some beautiful tea, and then Violet goes off on how like I'm not here to replace your son, and then they just walk out.
Yeah.
Never done see again.
Never seen it again. Well, we do see a flashback in this scene, I think.
What was it? I don't remember.
Oh,
Uh, it was her slipping on the blood, armless, like clutching to the major.
yeah,
Oh
I
yeah.
was gonna say one.
I do want to say, like, I in my notes, I took some notes, but I just stopped because I'm like, because it took me like an hour to get through one episode, and I was just taking too long. But that scene made me think, like, oh, I'm gonna cry at the end of this. I know it
I'm probably
because
not gonna cry.
I can tell that they're setting up for a really good ending.
Yeah, well,
Just
the whole thing, yeah, it does a good job at remaining cohesive and doing setups and things like that. And I like how, they start us off kind of slowly, and you just get to see, they cast you into the world, and you just get to see how Violet reacts to things. And so you're like the first episode, you really, by the end of it, you understand Violet's character. I feel like
right, yeah,
how she definitely doesn't understand emotions and things like that, and how aloof she is. And so like it's a good foundation for the show.
yeah,
Yeah, and they really keep you hooked on because they don't reveal everything all at once, and they don't even like talk much about how she was like, in the war and her backstory and all that till like
yeah,
episode 2 or 3. I really appreciate how they're keeping you hooked and they're really drawing you in, and so as they're unpacking the main story, they're also getting you attached to the characters by putting them through little things, and so you see their little um not what all I can think of is imperfections. That's not the word I'm looking for. Their little
idiosyncrasies.
yeah, that.
Yeah.
And so
Also,
they really get you like hooked to the show. So they're probably setting up a sad ending, in my opinion.
uh, are you guys aware of the 3 episode rule
No.
for an anime? So it's essentially because, like, this is a perfect example. The core of the show, her becoming a memory doll, isn't even noticed until like she's not even in a memory doll until episode 4, technically,
Oh
because she
yeah, and
doesn't get
she's
erased.
kind of on her journey in episode 2 and 3, right?
Right? Yeah. Like any shonen, like even in My Hero Academia, Deku doesn't go to UA until I want to say like episode 4, because it's after all his training with All Might, right?
Sounds right to me.
Yeah, and that's just like
Yeah,
that's such a big part of it, and so it's cool that they're like taking it slow because I've actually heard it's a big problem that a lot of people getting into anime have had is that nothing happens in the first episode, and that's the
yeah,
reason why the 3 episode rule exists. Is you need to watch the first 3 episodes because that's generally where the most things happen. Set up the
yeah. And
story.
then with Hunter x Hunter as well, it like they don't get into the oh my goodness Hunter exams. They don't do the Hunter exams until
I
several
mean,
episodes later.
Yeah.
went back because we were way off topic. Yeah, so so after the whole Violet Evergarden family at the house, Hodgins takes her to his company, CH Postal, which it's a private mail and ghostwriting service, which is interesting because if you think about just like world building wise, this country just came out of like a decade long war, I would say, a pretty long war. And what that does to like the population is that a lot of the people aren't taught education, they're taught how to fight. And so it makes sense that most of the population in Leidenschaftlich, which the country I know, Leidenschaftlich, I believe. It makes sense that they are illiterate. They don't know how to write. So it makes sense that
Yeah,
they
that's
have
true. I
this
didn't think about that.
ghostwriting. Yeah, it makes sense that they have a ghostwriting service to help with that.
Yeah, I remember them mentioning how there's a lot of people that didn't know how to write, and so that's why they went to the auto memory dolls. But at first I was like, why on earth is this a job? Can't they just like write them?
Yeah, write your own goddamn letters.
Yeah, yeah. Or like what I find interesting is that they have to interpret the other person's thoughts. Like the other person can't just say, "Okay, here's what I want you to type."
Yes, that was that is episode 2. That is episode. Let's hang on.
Well, I mean, we can bounce around a little bit.
Yeah, but like I find that interesting how they usually say like they pour out their thoughts and then they're like, okay, translate that into a letter to send to someone. Like it just, I don't know. I feel like it makes it less personal. And so if I got a letter from someone and I knew that they went to an auto memory doll with it, I'd feel like it was less for me or like from the other person, you know?
Yeah,
so
do they explicitly say it? Like I that's something I kept wondering throughout the show. Like when somebody gets the letter, do they know that it was written by an auto memory doll?
In episode 5, I believe, between the princess and the.
Oh yeah, that one they knew.
That one, they did
that was pretty obvious.
But the others, I don't know because, I mean, I'm sure everyone knows that people hire auto memory dolls.
Well, so I think it's pretty obvious. I think that's the reason why they do the typewriter is because it keeps your handwriting a secret.
That's true. So they don't know who writes it.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think it's probably an idea. So I feel like there's like two options. Either with the world building, most people write letters via auto memory dolls and stuff like that. And so it's kind of just to be assumed, or it's just kind of like when people use it, the other person receiving the letter doesn't know, which is why so many people got angry at Violet's inability to write letters very early on.
Yeah,
which I think that was a
But in this scene, when he brings her to the postal office, he takes her upstairs and introduces this character, and the only reason is that I know his name is just because I gave him the nickname Eggs Benedict. Eggs Benedict. Yeah.
So is that his official name now?
His name is Benedict. I can't say the name. Benedict.
Eggs Benedict. Benedict.
Yeah, that. So I just call him Eggs Benedict in my notes.
That's not gonna be confusing at all to pronounce.
Also, so Eggs, he has some not choice words, but he's against hiring we don't know at the time, but a child as a postal worker. But he gives her what's his name? Hodgins her the task to sort that, and we notice that she goes completely like for a few hours without a break.
Yeah, I think that's again kind of emphasizing her character in the first episode to kind of
she worked
strong worker.
She worked in the military. She worked in the military. Like that's a pretty brutal. Like do this repeatedly without a break.
And then it's the interesting thing is you don't know much, and then later you figure out that she kind of has grown up around it, so she doesn't know different. But it's like her viewpoint when doing any task, like there's no break or anything like that. It's just get it done. She's very to-do list, objective oriented kind of person, it seems.
Yeah, and we notice it later in the episode is when Hodgins on the trolley and he like sees a postal worker delivering letters and he goes, "Oh yeah, I guess we don't. Too bad we can't afford to send postal workers out at night." And then Violet turns the cart and and he sees the logo and he's like, "Violet." I think that was great too.
Yeah, and it just shows, like she's used to taking orders, so to her everything is like an order. That's just how she's lived her life, and that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
Yeah, and so I think that's like mostly what happens in episode 1, right? And then she writes
Right,
that
but we do.
letter, and that.
She,
Sorry, yeah,
she
she writes
does
that letter,
realize
and then like the person gets the letter and is all angry about it because Violet's not
that's not
emotionally
quite.
smart.
In the first episode, it ends with her witnessing a memory doll writing a letter for someone.
Okay, now I want to do this. Right.
Yeah, because she hears the words "I love you," and she goes, "Oh, that was the last words that Major told
Oh
me."
yeah, I'm thinking about episode 2. You're right.
So what does that mean? And so that's the reason why. And she asks, what's his name? The president. He just said he tells people to call him the president. We're just going to call him the president, for me at least. The president asks her. She asks the president, "Can I switch over to our memory dolls?" And that's the end of the first episode, and we're already 40 minutes in.
Bro, okay, so in the second episode, she joins the ghostwriting department and meets oh god. I don't like pronouncing names in anime because I watch sub and so I never know how to pronounce the name.
It's Catalea. I watch the dub. It's Catalea.
Okay, good. So I'm gonna need, for future reference, I'm gonna need to know who watches it subbed or dubbed so that I can know who to refer to.
I watch it both, but I don't remember how her name is pronounced. I would have assumed
I do
Catalea,
both.
but, you know.
I do both because just so I can get the experience. Like, what's the difference? Like, what's the audio quality difference? And I must say, the dub is very good on this series.
Really? Mm-hmm. That's good to hear. I watch everything sub, so anyway. So yeah, she joins the ghostwriting department and meets Catalaya.
Catalea, yep.
Catalaya. Okay. That doesn't look like how you pronounce it. And then there's also Erica and Iris. So Catalaya is the veteran, and Erica and Iris are the rookie. And so Violet began her training, and she learned how to use a typewriter very quickly. Despite her metal hands, she became very, very proficient at it.
Yeah, she was a quick boy on that thing.
Yeah, because I liked it because
was it Iris who started to get jealous of her, or was it Erica?
It's Iris. I know.
Iris, yeah.
It was Iris who went on that one to the countryside.
Okay.
Yeah, but I also really liked she fiddled with her elbow. Like, that sounds weird, but out of context.
It was a metal elbow. It had a gear or something.
Yeah, she like fiddled with the gears and stuff, and I really like the attention to detail because I find that like metal armor and stuff is also a really bad thing that like anime gets wrong at times. But go ahead. Sorry, I took that away from you.
No, it's okay. So in this episode, she offers to write a romantic letter, but it ended up being really bad because she can't understand emotions, and so the recipient and the client both got mad at her. And Erica asked her why she wanted to be an auto memory doll, and Violet told her it was because she wanted to learn the meaning of "I love you." Iris suggested to Hodgins that he fire Violet, but Erica came to her defense.
Which was pretty PogChamp of him.
Yes. And then, so Hodgins didn't fire her and gave her a uniform, which I want to say, you guys have no idea how desperately I want to do a cosplay of her uniform, but I know it will never happen anyway.
I think you could do it. You could pull it off.
Okay, I guess.
Wait, what?
I did.
I think you can pull it off. But we lied. Episode 1 is not when she gets the brooch back.
Yeah, it's episode 2. Yeah. I mixed them up. I got them into one episode in my head.
Yeah, it's been a few weeks since we saw these episodes, so we get a break. As long as, or at least we cleared it up. Cool. So yeah, she got the brooch back, and
the new uniform is amazing.
I love the new uniform. I love her original outfit from the first episode, but I also love her new uniform right now.
Yeah.
But I know I wouldn't be able to do it.
Yes, you could.
No, because like, okay, first of all, how on earth am I gonna get that outfit? Like, I don't know how on earth I would. And 2, I don't have the hair for it, unless I got a wig, but I hate wigs.
You have the hair for it.
No, I don't. My
No
hair's
one,
too thin.
no one has anime hair. Okay.
Okay, but I don't. But some people have thick enough hair to do the style, but I don't. My hair is so thin. It would look bad.
I found it. $52.
Bro, really?
Yeah.
Yo, I know what I'm saving up for.
Money well spent.
Okay, anyway. So yeah, Hodgins didn't fire Violet, gave her the uniform and the brooch, and Violet decided to go to a doll training course, and so she goes to that in the next episode. At the end of this episode, Hodgins talks to Catalea.
Yeah, apparently. So I looked it up, and apparently that's a kind of flower as well. They're all named after flowers. Yeah.
Is Erica a flower?
Probably.
Oh, well, I didn't think about that one, but Iris is. So you know,
Yeah,
I'm sure Erica is.
Watch Erica have like a middle name that's a flower.
Yeah, there you go.
I swear.
Love me some Erica flowers.
So, yeah, Hodgins tells Catalea.
There you go.
Ah, okay, Catalea. That he used to be friends with Gilbert, and he said Gilbert is never coming back. So that made me think that Gilbert's dead.
He's dead. Yeah.
We hadn't got it.
Is it confirmed that he's dead, or is it like he might be dead, might not be dead?
I fully believe that he's dead. It would be a bad decision to do it, because the whole part of Violet's thing, I believe, is that it's growing up and accepting that he's died, along with learning emotions.
She has to learn that he died first, though. Hopefully that happens.
Yeah.
Because she thinks he's still alive, right?
Right. Yeah.
What's his name? Why do we always forget his name? Hodgins.
The president.
Either way.
The president.
Didn't tell her that he died. Like in the beginning, like in the first episode, she was like, "Where is he? Where is Gilbert?" And
yeah, he backs off. He's like,
he was like awkward and hesitated, and so that made that between that and this episode at the end.
Where's the major? Pick a stuffed animal.
Yeah. Exactly. It really distract you. So, okay, but what if? Oh my goodness. So what if like later in the show she finds out that he's dead and then she like cries for the first time or something? Okay.
Yeah, that's.
Honestly, I don't think I would. Because I have emotions of steel.
As do I. So we're gonna have to rely on Ian to do the crying.
Ian, you're gonna have to do all the crying.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
As we record the next podcast, Ian bursts into tears halfway through. Anyways, I kind of agree with it seems like in the episodes 3, 4, and 5, like she doesn't go through much about the major. Like they kind of take a sidetrack, and I feel like in episode 6 it like brings it back, but that is further along. But I just feel like, and then it kind of shows again how she still is like attached and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think especially Erica and like they're all three kind of shown off in this episode, but I think especially Erica is, right? Because we kind of like she.
Yeah, Erica, I'm fine with. She's the character up much better because you didn't tell the summary, but she defended Violet. It's because she wants to. She has a similar problem where she's too shy to like.
Yeah, I think that would be cool. Like
Grace needs to be more severe and needs like more assertive.
Mm-hmm. And I think, and we see a whole lot about Iris in what was it, episode 4, and then I think Erica kind of gets the spotlight in episode 2. And Catalaya, she hasn't had her own episode yet, but she's like the boss, right? So she sounds pretty fitting.
Like
the 3 Musketeers.
3 Musketeers.
Yeah, Evergarden.
Cataleo is the professional one. Like she knows the most. Like she's the best on Rito.
Yeah.
And was it this episode where they hinted that she and the president?
I think so at the end.
I don't remember that.
You get vibes, but maybe.
Vibes. She had him pinned up against the wall.
Hence
I don't
vibes.
remember this. What? Oh no, wait, I do. Because wasn't it someone like walked up on them or something, right?
He's been it, yeah.
Okay, wait. I'm looking on the wiki, not the wiki. I'm looking on Google, and it says Benedict. I don't know where you're getting Benedict.
Oh,
Benedict.
Oh, it's
Thank
Benedict?
you. It's Benedict.
I thought you. Oh, so it is Eggs Benedict, just literally.
I kind of like Eggs Benedict better though.
Yeah.
I'm just imagining because my dad, his favorite, I guess his favorite breakfast item is Eggs Benedict. I already put it up.
There you go.
We'll
just make sure.
We're never gonna get this name right ever again.
No, we'll just make sure that Ian doesn't have to say Benedict ever again. We'll save him from that.
Alright, cool.
That works.
He has like a normal haircut, then it's like left eye or something.
Wait,
I don't remember too much how he looks. He was never a standout character for me in my head.
Oh yeah, the one strand that annoyed me too.
Get this man to brush his hair. Anyway,
no, just chop that one piece of hair off.
Maybe he has a backstory. Who knows?
Episode 7, we start crying about him, and we're all talking bad about his strand of hair right now. It's actually his only connection he has left to his mother.
I swear, if you...
Oh wait, if that's actually some,
So do they? So I know Auto Memory Doll School is a thing. Does that come up in episode 2 or in episode 3?
It's episode 3.
Well, I mean, like her joining it. Do they mention it at the end of episode 2, or is it only at the beginning of it?
They mention it later in the episode.
Yeah, they talk about I think Hodgins invites her to do it. He's like, "Hey, I have this Auto Memory Doll School that you can go to, and you can, if you graduate from it, you get like what's it called? It's not a permit. You get the certification or whatever." But he was like, "You don't have to do it. It's
like a trade school.
You don't need it." Yeah, it's like it's not required, but she wanted to do it. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
and so that. That's
you do it.
Yeah, I got you. Episode 3 is when like it presents it, and they're all in the school, and then she meets that girl, and her name is quite long, but I think it's like Luculia.
Yeah.
Is it Luculia? Because they pronounce it weird in the song. They pronounce it like Luculia or something like that in the song.
It might be Luculia, but Lucy. I'm just gonna
call her Luculia, and whatever happens, happens. But
wait, I'm gonna pull up like a pronunciation guide.
In which case, she's doing that. Yeah. That's where I like it, because like at the beginning of that episode, they all were on a typewriter, and then you see Violet just like fly across on that thing like she's super fast, and so she's getting like exceptional grade until the point
super bad.
Yeah, and then she has to. There's one where she has to write, or that's where you learn about Luculia a little bit too, because Luculia wants to write a letter to her brother or her parents.
Wasn't it?
Wasn't it her parents, then she ended up writing it to her brother.
Yeah, and were we shown her brother in the beginning?
Not in the beginning.
Not in the beginning. Okay. So I do not like this instructor.
I thought she was cool. She was like
cool, but she's like that too. Man, I don't like that. She's the English stereotype of like the hard mentor. They like get it perfect.
Those are fun, because the thing is that like she writes that letter, and it's like not good for emotions as it usually is, and then she's like, nope, you can't do that, which it's for work, so it makes sense, because if you have somebody writing letters like that, that's not going to happen. She said, you can't get the job if that happens. And so but then after that, Luculia takes her to the bell tower, and
bell tower.
I love the view from the tower.
Wait, was it sunset, right? When they went up there?
Yes, sir. And it just all looked really good. I think there was good music playing at that point too. And then that's when Lucilia tells her about her brother and how he came back from the war and he's a drunkard. And then I think it showed like clips of him like getting in bar fights and stuff like that. And it was just like he's just a mess.
And the home they live in. Oh gosh.
Ooh, yeah.
It's like a.
Also, I looked it up. Is it Luculia?
Is that what it is? Luculia?
I think it's but why is that a U?
I bet you it's I mean, I'm sure that one's a flower. It looks like a flower.
Catalea as well. It does not sound like how it's pronounced.
We should go talk to the guy who made the names for the flowers, and
it's a girl actually that wrote it.
I was never mind. In any which case, that's when I think. Oh yeah, so yeah, it kind of reveals that he's a drunkard, and Luculia is not too happy about that.
Oh yeah,
it's like it causes tension, but she still like wants to tell him how she feels, and she doesn't know how to, and so that's when they and part of that behind that too is that because her parents died in the war, her brother feels guilty because he kind of failed to protect them, and that's a big part of it too. But anyways, it gets to the culmination of the episode, and they're writing letters for each other, and like was it like it's after class and nobody's there, and then
oh no, you missed this. Lucilia passes like top of the class where Violet fails, which is another thing that I like, that they kind of like what's the term, like undid the trope of the protagonist being instantly good.
Yeah, exactly.
I appreciate that too, because obviously she's not really good because she doesn't understand emotions, which is a major part of that job.
Right, she failed, which I appreciate because it shows that she works towards it.
Yeah, they basically put Violet in an like the whole premise of the show. You take this person who is the least suited for the job, and they throw her in it, and it's pretty interesting. But
yeah, what I find interesting, so even though she did fail the first time, I find it interesting that it was that easy for her to go back and pass it. I know I'm kind of getting ahead of what Aiden, you're probably about to say, but I find it interesting that she like was able to graduate that easily.
Yeah, I agree, because it's like the same way of her not being able to understand the way that people talk and the little things that you're supposed to say in a conversation to not offend people or things like that. That was the same thing that made her letter good, because she just said exactly what Lucilia wanted her to say, you know, like what she wanted to tell her brother.
Because at the end of the episode, she does the instructor, what's her name? Rodanthe?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Yeah. She does end up passing her because she wrote that letter, and Lucilia calls Rodanthe back and tells her, like, wait, she did.
I think that's a cheap move, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, I really liked the letter. I was scared about the letter that Violet wrote, but I'm glad she wrote what she said. But I do think that it shouldn't have been that easy for her to graduate.
Yeah, it's like, okay, you're good.
I'm glad that she grew a little bit. Like, one thing I really appreciate about these few episodes is that you can see her little progressions in every episode and how she grows a little bit in every episode. And it was this episode that I started to realize that she was like growing, and I appreciated that. But I still don't think that she should have been able to graduate that easily.
Yeah, that doesn't even make sense.
Yeah. Well, so that was the third episode. Now the fourth episode, this one was one of the ones that I had watched with my grandma a while ago. So this one I don't actually quite remember that well because I skipped over it while reviewing the show. But I do remember some, so I can do this.
All right, bet.
So the fourth, let's see, the fourth episode, Iris receives a ghostwriting request from her hometown, but injures her hand, so she brings Violet along with her to assist her. But once they get there, once they get there, they're met with Iris's parents. And I did like this where when they got out of again, it's just like the fluid animation on here. When they got out the mud, I really like the mud animation.
Oh yeah, the liquid in the snow.
Liquid.
Why is the liquid so good?
I know. Iris is met by her parents, and they reveal that, yeah, no, it was us, honey, that sent the request to come over so Iris would come back to celebrate her birthday, which I think is just really interesting because it sets up Iris as having something to run away from when there's nothing to run away from. Does that make sense? Like she's like a rebel. Oh, uh, she's she has a place to stay, but she wants to make it out on her own, and she's like pushing back. She's pushing away from her family.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so they request for her to come celebrate her birthday. Well, she's fine with until her mother informs her that it's so that they can find a suitor, like a husband for her.
Come on, man.
Oh yeah, and wasn't that too like she thought it was like a somebody else? It wasn't her parents, and then when she got revealed.
Yeah, that's what I was saying because they were like, "Oh, hi, honey." Yeah, no, we sent the letter.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so since her hand's broken or injured, Violet writes all the party invitations, but Iris specifically asks her not to send an invitation to what's his name, Iman Snow. I believe so. That's how they said it. He sends it to says not to send it to this guy, but she sends it anyway. And do you guys remember why she sent it? Was it because her mom asked her?
The mother, because she went and asked the mother about it, and her mother was like, no, you're sending this letter. And so she was like, I can't deny your mother, so I'm just going to send it.
Yeah, okay,
yeah. I think that shows a lot about Violet's character too, because again, she prioritizes like taking orders from the person that, you know, gives
that's
it
in
over.
charge. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Her military roots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So she sends it anyway, and when Emon appears, Iris gets very mad and runs up to her room. And when Violet approaches her, she realizes, or Iris tells her that Iman was her childhood crush, and he rejected her confession, that whole classic thing. And it caused her, that's actually the reason that she left the town, was because the pain that Iman of his rejection made her leave her hometown to become a doll. And this causes Violet to realize that a love confession like Gilbert's must have required a great deal of courage, which I'm very mad at y'all. I don't want it to be romantic.
It's going to be.
No,
that's the theme I was talking about.
It's painful, but it's going to be.
Oh gosh,
the show.
All right, so
come on, it would be almost anticlimactic if they didn't do it, because they're setting up all these love stories that Violet's living through, and she was like, "Oh, I wanted to know the meaning of "I love you" and his dying words were "I love you." It would be super anticlimactic.
I don't want
oh no, I like you as a daughter.
Okay. All right, fine, whatever. But because of this, because like she ran up to her room and kind of like hid there for the rest of the party, Violet helps her write the apology letter to the guests and her parents. And so because of these letters, Iris's parents continue to let her be a doll because they wanted her to come back and get married and settle down where they are. But they're like, no, this was really good. Go keep doing what you're doing, kiddo. And so on the way back to Leiden, Iris confides in Violet that her parents named her after the flower of the same name. She was because she was born when all the irises were in full bloom. And we get another flashback from Violet, who remembers that Gilbert named her after the flower of the same name, which I thought that was very beautiful. Which also, at the same time, I'm like, do you not realize that you named after a flower if your name is Violet?
Yeah.
Too busy fighting people. Can't take it.
Yeah, I was about to say she was in the military. It's not like she. Well, I don't know if she got an education or not. I'm sure she did because she learned how to read.
Yeah, that's true.
But who knows?
So, yeah, what you guys like about this one?
I thought the field of irises were gorgeous.
Oh my goodness, yes. So this show, you guys will not stop hearing about this.
Yeah. I think that the puddle of mud symbolizes something. I don't know
Oh,
what.
yeah.
You're reading. That's
I
reading too
remember
much
that.
into
No,
it.
no, no,
That's
she's right.
reading
She's
too
right.
much into
It has
it.
to. Come on. They
No,
focus too much on the puddle.
the
Because it's
puddle of mud.
beautiful. That's why.
Oh no, I
They
remember that.
focus.
They focus a
Like,
lot on
They
the water
do.
too. They focus a lot on the
Okay,
water
but
too.
it has a different vibe. It just feels different.
no, because what happens is when Iris walks into her hometown with her family and all that baggage, she walks into the mud and she gets upset. She's like, oh God, and I got mud on my shoes too. And then she sees her family, she's all upset. And also, Iris gets upset through the whole episode, which to me was kind of annoying, like but that's not the point. It was
Okay.
when she leaves though, she steps in that same puddle of mud, but she's not upset. So it's kind of symbolizing
and it
that.
resolved her. Like she was like her inner conflict was resolved. It showed that she didn't have the stress or whatever.
Yeah,
Okay.
like the family's still there. It's still all muddy and stuff.
It might be a stretch.
Might be a stretch. Yeah.
It might be a stretch, but I feel like the puddle symbolizes that. So anyway.
Okay. All right.
I had forgotten.
And also the music in this episode, I'm pretty sure the music, it was around the time that she stepped in the puddle. I think it was the first or second time, I can't remember. But around the time she stepped in the puddle, the music was beautiful and I loved it. It was like super playful. Anyway.
All right.
That's the one thing I'm going to talk about a lot in like this podcast is the music, just because I love music.
Yeah. The guy's name who did the music, the conductor's name, his name is Evan Call. Like Evan Call, Call. If you want to look up his music after this.
Cool.
I probably will when I finish the show.
Yeah. Episode 5.
Okay, wait.
Actually, wait, hang on.
Before we do episode 5, I do want to say one thing. I just like, so at the party when Iris gets mad, like Ian, you were saying, like Iris's character all that much, and I think she has redemption and she's developing.
No, I meant more like I didn't like her character in the second episode.
Oh, okay.
Like I felt she was two-dimensional, but in here she did get some character.
I was gonna say I agree with you, kind of, because I feel like she blew up way too much at that party. Like, oh no, my childhood crush is here and he rejected me and I'm sad. I'm gonna make a big old tantrum in front of everybody. Like, but it does show a big
but she forgave. She apologized and
and she developed, and I think they did that too to show because again, Violet doesn't do the emotion thing, so then Violet kept like just it's a total contrast to her, and then that's the point in one of those episodes where like Violet was all like, "I'm sorry, I don't understand why people say one thing and mean another thing," and that like it's kind of added on.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Also, I appreciated so how they have like those little messages at the end of most, if not all, of the episodes.
I believe so. Yeah.
So I can't remember what exactly the end of this episode, like what the message was, but I wrote it. I wrote down that I really appreciated it because it basically said to not use or be used to other people's advantages and to make a name for yourself and grow into the person you want to be. So it showed how Iris grew in the episode. Like at the beginning, she was like having to deal with her parents who wanted her to settle down and get married, but that's not what she wanted to do. So she had to deal with the pressure to settle down and follow her parents' dreams rather than her own.
Right, yeah. Episode 5,
okay.
Adam.
Wait, but real quick, one thing I also forgot to mention. I'm sorry. I love the OP and Edie. Okay, that's
what fine. OP? I've not seen an opening yet.
There was
what?
Okay,
yeah, there is.
There's an opening
something it for you.
Yes, it's
no,
really
good. It wasn't opening it for me. I never got an opening.
So good. I love it.
Yeah, it's a great opening.
You can Google it or something because it's really good.
Wait, what are you watching on? This is a Netflix original.
Netflix.
Yeah, it's on Netflix, of course.
I never saw it. What the heck? Okay, I need to go back and
watch
it.
Some devices automatically skip it.
I think that's what happens.
But also, several episodes just don't have it.
Yeah, so, I think that's what it is.
It first came in episode 3, and then it was there in episode 4.
Okay, yeah. So
I'm pretty sure it wasn't there in 5.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, since I had already watched the first 4 episodes, I skipped 3 and 4 and just went to 4 and 6. So I skipped the whole OP. I'm gonna have to look this up after.
Okay, continue episode 5. All right. So, Violet was sent to the kingdom of Drossel, I believe is how you pronounce it.
That's how they said it in the dub.
Okay, good. she was sent to Drossel to write a love letter for the Princess Charlotte to Damien, the prince of the neighboring kingdom Flugel.
I love that name, by the way. Just
Flugel.
Flugel.
It reminds me of CFD's The Elaborate Flagon, which is my favorite item in the game. I love it just because of the name. Anyway, also reminds me of Bugles, but so Violet's mission there is really important because Drossel and Flugel were enemies in the war and were arranging the marriage to cement the terms of a peace treaty. And so Charlotte was really anxious about the wedding. In fact, throughout the episode, she seemed like hiding in her bed and stuff, which is a total mood. But Violet wrote the love letter for Charlotte, and Damien wrote a letter back in response. But Charlotte wasn't satisfied with it, and so later she asked Violet to talk to her, like person to person, pretty much. Like Charlotte not as a princess and Violet not as an auto memory doll, just them as two people.
Yeah, we also learn her age in this episode.
Yes.
Which is...
Oh my goodness. I was like, what? There's no way. Like, she's a 14-year-old and she's been through all this and she hasn't. Like, what the heck?
Yeah.
But
which is why I'm still grossed out at you guys suggesting that her in the major.
It's going to be. I'm sorry, but it is. Okay.
Man, you probably support Hisoka. Okay.
No, I hate Hisoka. I hate Hisoka. You know that.
Oh, man. And there we go on Hunter tangent again.
That wasn't a tangent. That was me yelling at you because I hate Hisoka for 2 seconds.
Okay.
So yeah, Charlotte confided in Violet that she met Damien at her 10th birthday party, and she grew infatuated with him because he
listened to her. He listened to her as a person, not a suitor.
Yeah, because everyone, that's what I was saying, everyone was just there to be like her suitor.
Which, by the way, I get.
She left and cried in the garden, and then he came to her and he was like, what did he say to her? I can't remember what he said to her.
He said, like, why are you crying? And then they just talked. Yeah, but like, I understand that this is like based off of like old customs, like ancient customs, where like people were getting married off at very young ages. But 10, Jesus.
Yeah, 10 is super young. I'm reading a book in my English class right now, and they're getting married at like 14 and 15, but 10's ridiculous.
This is the same age group.
Yeah, that's true. 10 and 20, well, 24 and 14, that's ridiculous. Anyway, okay, no, it is ridiculous, but it's still gonna happen, okay? It's gonna happen in this show. So, yeah, Charlotte tells her that she doesn't know whether Damien actually likes her or not because she could tell that the letter he gave her had no emotion in it and was probably written by an auto memory doll.
Which later in the episode, we learn who was the other auto memory doll who wrote Damien's letters, who was Catalea, who is the best auto memory doll in the CH company.
Yep. So Violet has an idea and arranges with Damien's doll, we don't know who it is yet at this point, to have Charlotte and Damien write their own letters.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot it was a mystery.
Yeah, dude.
We said spoilers. We said spoilers.
That's true. Like, of course, there's gonna be spoilers, but like, come on, man. At least say it for like 2 minutes. But yeah, so Charlotte and Damien wrote their own letters to each other without the help of auto memory dolls, and it started a passionate correspondence between them that everyone in the kingdoms watched. Basically, everyone was gossiping about it, and so the wedding went on as planned. And Violet and Catalea, who we now know is Damien's doll, returned to Leiden. Is how it's pronounced, right?
I want to say Leiden, yeah.
Yes, sir.
I would say Leiden.
Yeah, I want to say it is Leiden, yeah.
But yeah, so Charlotte and Damien got married, and Violet and Catalea went back to Leiden, and Catalea noticed Violet smiling.
I forgot about that.
Which,
Yeah.
yeah, I loved. One thing I did love was when she would like slap her face and then like move her cheeks
Yes.
up to smile.
Oh,
That was
she's
so
like pinch her
adorable.
cheeks and like.
Oh, it was so cute.
Oh man.
But yeah, so when Violet got back to Leiden, she found Gilbert's brother. Someone help me pronounce his name.
Oh, I forgot his brother's
I'm
name.
usually so
He was such a small character.
Okay,
Oh,
I'm gonna
it's
tell you.
Dietfried, I don't know.
Diefried.
Okay, I was supposed to tell
Diefried,
you
yeah.
how it's like spelled.
Diefried.
It's Diet Fried, and I
No,
love
it's
that.
Diefried. I know this because I had a history teacher. His name was Freelander, but it was spelled Friedlander. It's Freelander. So Diet Freelander.
It's spelled Diet Fried.
Diet-free. I'm saying diet-free. Okay.
It's fine.
I also watched. I watched the dub.
Gilbert's brother. Gilbert's brother, was didn't believe that how she became a doll and whatever,
Well, yeah,
and
because
reminded her that she killed several people. Yeah.
Which also notices that Diefried gave Gilbert Violet, right? Like that was his gift to her, correct?
Really? I forgot that.
Well, yeah, he was episode.
I know that she got a gift. I just didn't realize it was from that guy. I didn't put it together in my head.
Yeah, it was from a brother because they were talking about their father. His father. Their father, jeez. But it also realizes that they were on the opposite side of the war.
And I also didn't realize what?
Me neither.
Yeah, because he said like you slaughtered a lot of my men. So either like she and Gilbert went rogue, and that's how he died, or they were on another side of the war.
Oh yeah, you're right. Including many of his men. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of leaning towards the latter one because that would not make sense for him to be in Leiden.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like a reminder, I think, too. You know, we've kind of
Again,
got we're
amazing,
sent into.
amazing storytelling.
Yeah, because we were sent into like her, finding out about love and stuff like that. And then at the end of episode 5, we get that reminder of she's killed a ton of people and stuff like that. She was part of the war.
She's 14 and she's killed 1,000 men or whatever.
Yeah, that's why I was so surprised when I heard her age because I was like, dude, she's 14. She's been in the military her whole life.
She looks like 20. She looks 20.
Yeah, that's the thing about anime. You can never tell. But yeah, she's like been in the army, killed countless people, has metal hands, is in love, is supposedly in love with some guy, not some guy, her major, whatever. And now has a job writing love letters for people. Like, what on earth what kind of life does she have?
Yeah,
ideas the creators came up with.
Yeah. One thing I want to mention, even though, yes, it is weird, we've discussed this several times, it is weird that the princess is 10 years younger than the prince, but their love story is still kind of cute, I have to admit. Like, if it would be better if they weren't 10 years apart, but it's kind of adorable.
They were written well, I would say.
Back and forth.
But again, different time. Like it's taking place in a different time.
She's also a crybaby. She's not ready to get married. She cries.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Like she hides in her room, which again, I can't blame her. I did that today. But yeah.
He said.
Yeah. But I was confused. Not confused, but I was like, I guess I was confused as to why the whole kingdom was reading their love letters. Like, I know, I guess it's like their version of.
Well, it's a publicity stunt. The whole point of them getting married is so that their kingdom won't go to war.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's this tradition.
I wouldn't like that personally, like having everyone read my letters.
Yeah. That's also, I think that's also the reason why they started off with the memory dolls. Like, started off with them writing it.
Make it very, like, professional.
Right, yeah, and then they started writing them themselves, and I think they noticed, like, the people noticed, like, hey, these are getting short, like, what the heck?
Yeah, and then they started getting more invested in it.
Cool.
Yeah, okay. Is that all for episode 5, would you say?
I think so, unless
episode 6. Now, before we get into episode 6, I want to say, I watched this. I completely watched it.
He has no memory of it.
I have no memory of it whatsoever. As soon as I start reading, I'm like, I vaguely remember this, but nothing comes to mind if I think about it any harder.
He was half asleep
This
for that
one was a very this could be because I just watched this like I'd say 5 days ago, probably 5 days ago. So it's definitely obviously the most recent one that I've seen. But this one stood out to me a lot compared to the other episodes.
I do remember it being good. I remember it being good, but I don't remember anything. I don't know why. It was just
Okay, so since you can't remember, let's go on into the.
We tell you the story. Yeah.
You guys can cover this. I'll drop in at what I remember.
Okay.
So basically, episode 6, what happens is Violet and a bunch of other dolls, they go to an observatory to transcribe from like a bunch of different old books. I don't remember the exact reason for it, but the point is there's a doll and they're paired with people that work at the observatory, and basically one person reads it aloud and the other person writes it down. And so Violet is paired with this dude named Leon, and Leon, long-haired boy, almost looks like a girl sometimes.
I totally thought he was a girl at first.
I do remember thinking it was a girl.
And I did too. I was like, I'm okay.
Yeah, and basically they both are like a power team writing it down because he's all like.
I do remember going like, "Oh, you did 3 days work in a single like day or something." Yeah.
Yeah, in a day.
Yeah, because basically he's all like, oh, he I remember he brought it up. He's all like, "Don't, I'm kind of fast," and then she pulls out her metal hands and starts writing off fast. He's like, "Whoa, wait a minute."
I don't. So I wanted to mention this. Yeah, I wanted to mention this at the first episode, but she bites her gloves off.
No.
Yeah, why does she bite? Well, it's probably because she isn't used to having to like use her fingers or whatever. But at this point, she has to be used to it by now, right?
Right. Yeah, but I would feel like she got the transplants pretty instantly, right? Because I feel like that first flashback when he was dying, we think, was fairly recent compared to the first episode. I would think, I think that her losing her arms to getting the transplant to her recovering is.
I think she's basically used to them. My theory is that just there are certain little things like taking off gloves that are harder to do with metal hands, but they really don't show that except for when she takes off the gloves. So.
Right, yeah.
Well, also she's like buffered by the gloves, so it's probably harder for her not only with her metal hands, but also the bulk of the gloves themselves.
Yeah, I guess.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay. But anyways. They write a bunch of stuff about I don't remember what it was about, but I remember it being important to the episode, so maybe. Oh yeah, that's right. It was about the comet, and that comes up. But anyways,
I do remember this a lot more actually. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, like Ian said, they wrote more than like anybody else, and it was pretty cool. And then in between it, where we learned that Leon also was an orphan, he doesn't remember his parents at all, and so they kind of start. Leon and Violet kind of start bonding or having like some sort of bond because they both are very similar in that way, and they both kind of are like outcasts. And then
wasn't it like they both lost their parents or something?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, neither of them had parents.
And so basically, he's all like, "Oh right, and then he started really liking her, and so he invited her to watch the comet with him.
Did you guys get like a crush kind of like feeling?
Yes, I was gonna say that. I was waiting for a good moment. I was gonna say I ship them. They're cute.
He's a one episode person. I feel like he's a one episode person.
I know, and it makes me mad. I really hope that they cross paths again. Like I hope it's like a several episodes in the future. Like, hey, here he is again. Like not necessarily like next episode. Oh
yeah, but I don't want it to be like last episode. Hey, here's this guy from episode 6. Let's get hitched.
Well, I think the idea of it, it's like they're like a really like they want the viewers to like it because they like perfectly fit for each other. But the thing is that as they are watching and stargazing at the comet that he invites her to, they start talking about that whole thing about love, and then he relates how his parents left him early, and like his father disappeared on an expedition, and his mother left him to go search for his father. Like she prioritized that. And so he kind of is like bitter towards the concept of love. And then they kind of keep talking. And that's where Violet really shows her obsession to Gilbert, because she said I think she said something like there's no point in living without him. Like she said something like
Yes,
that.
she said that.
And it kind of
I
just
also
shows
feel
that
like
she's lived with him all her life, and that's the only motivation she's had. So, and at that point,
Which I could see that how that could have like a fatherly bond to it, but there's no way with everything else she said. There's no way.
yeah.
It's an unhealthy obsession, but it's because that's all she knows. And so at that
However, at
point,
the same time, I was laughing pretty hard because I'm like, oh man, Leon just got like stopped right there, just like
Yeah,
nope.
I was so sad because obviously she's not gonna like him because she doesn't know the concept of love, so she's not gonna realize, hey, I kind of like this guy. She's obsessed with what's his name, the major,
Yeah.
and so she's obviously gonna be hyper focused on him and not even care about Leon. And so that made me sad that Leon just got shot down. But I hope they cross paths again. Anyway, that's what else happened.
yeah, and that's like at that moment he's like, well, that's it. You know, he he was going for
Yeah, he was like, I
something.
gave up.
Yeah, and then they both watch the comment. I think it's kind of cool because like they're both talking about their relationships with people and love and all that, but then like they both are just amazed by the comment, and it's like kind of just it brings them back down to earth.
Was the
I kinda
comment?
like how they did
Was
that.
the animation for the comment good? Because once
Yeah,
again, I don't
it
remember
was.
this.
And then
Oh, it was
everybody
so
got all
pretty.
life, and it was cool.
There's like an aurora borealis. Sorry.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I do vaguely remember that as well.
And then
However, I did notice, I did like how they just named it Allie's comments instead of Haley's comments.
yeah, I didn't think about that actually. That's funny.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, the next morning, Violet leaves. Her job's done. She's like, "Yeah, whatever." I don't think she was thinking all too much about Leon in that way. And then, Leon basically runs to her and sees her off and tells her that he's gonna start traveling the world. And it's this very emotional scene. And I felt like the voice acting was weird at that bit. I watched it in sub and in dub, and like as he's running, he's like yelling to her, but his voice isn't
Yeah,
like
he wasn't like actually yelling.
yeah, like as she gets further away, like you would think that he would be yelling to her, but he's just kind of like, and then I'm gonna do this, and he's talking all quietly. And it's like, what?
I
That
think it
doesn't.
was. I don't remember it that much, but I'm going to defend it anyways. I think it's much more of like yes, and then I'll do like talking much more to himself.
Oh, he was yelling to her.
No,
He was like,
he was talking specifically to her. He was like, yeah, he was like calling her by name and stuff like that.
yeah, and that's I'm pretty sure that's basically how the episode ends. There's not much else that happens.
Yeah, that's exactly
no wait,
how it ended.
yeah. What does he proclaim again?
What
What does he say? What's he say that he's gonna do?
He's gonna start traveling the world like Violet.
Yeah, he's gonna travel the world, and he was talking about how he wanted to see Violet again. He wasn't sure if he'd ever see her again, but I'm pretty sure he asked her like, "Will I ever see you again, or will we cross paths again?" And she just didn't answer.
I was gonna add though, yeah, like beginning of his life, or like all of his life, he's been in that observatory, and he talked about that with his guy friend at one point. And so now he's actually, and being reserved, and he's actually gonna go out, and that's kind of the resolution. But
yeah,
that was like, I think that one was my
they
favorite.
could see each other again, because I feel like it could happen. It could be, even if it's just another one episode thing. They could like both happen to be in the same city at the same time, and then they spend the episode together. And yeah, and then he could be off again. But I want them to be together.
Oh, he's gone. Accepted him. Like he's gone.
No, he can't get with the major.
It definitely seemed like it was more developing his character than hers, and more just showing the problem she has. Because like he actually made a difference from that experience, whereas her, she's just like still caught up on the major, and that's gonna be.
It shows that he could make like an impact on another person.
But also at the same time, his arc is over.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm not saying that Violet was supposed to grow up. I'm just
like
saying
he's done. His character got the full treatment right there.
Yeah, you're right. That's how I view it too.
So yeah. So that was the first 6 episodes of Violet Evergarden.
Mm-hmm.
What would you guys rate the show so far? Like 1 out of 10. What would you say? I myself give this show a 9 out of 10. I am hopeful, but there's a few things, mainly her being 14, which that kind of brings it down to a 9 for me. But overall, the animation really good, spot on. That's a 10 out of 10. The OP is really good, which I just watched. That is really good. What do you guys think?
I will say 9 out of 10 for the anime itself, like the story and stuff like that. Animation, obviously 10 out of 10 perfect, beautiful. OP, I'm gonna give it a solid 8. Not like it's really good, like really pretty, but
But it's also not meant to like get you hyped up like One Punch Man or something.
Well, that's not my what is the word? I am bad with words. That's not my.
That's great on an audio format media.
I know, right?
I can't think of what you're trying to think of. It's not your
thing. That's not my scale, I guess. It's not my.
You're talking about One Punch Man or Violet Evergarden?
No, I'm talking about OPs in general. Like my opinion on OPs is not based on how much it hypes up the show. For me, it's just about the quality of the music and
like
the
visual. I meant it more like it's not gonna get you like super excited for the show like how a My Hero opening would be, right?
Yeah.
So it is much more of a chilled one. Like
it fits the style of the show, so I do like it for that reason.
Yeah. The OP is still great. Like, go watch the opening. Yeah, like guys, go watch the opening. It's on YouTube. I'm talking to the audience right now, but go watch the opening.
But yeah, and so what else am I rating? Let's see. I said 9.
I mean, I didn't mention it before, but the sound design is like 10 out of 10.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, like, so there's like a lot of many things, but I think like for me the things that stood out to me, like the story's really good, and I think objectively I would give it a 9, but for me personally I'd give it an 8 just because it's not totally my style of show, like of something I'm used to or something that really sticks to me.
That's a good point. I didn't think about how it like relates to me personally.
Yeah, but I like, even subjectively I still think it's good. Like I still really enjoyed it. But then in terms of what was the the opening, to me that was like a 7 because I don't know, it's good. Like 7 is still good, but it didn't like stick out super big to me. And the animation and music is absolutely 10 out of 10 for me. Like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So what else did you guys have to say?
So does anyone have any like predictions for future episodes?
Gilbert is dead. Gilbert is definitely dead.
For sure. Yeah, I agree with that. But like
Leon's not coming back.
I want Leon to come
back. Yeah, I think definitely like Violet's gonna get that realization. Then that's gonna be crushing, and then she's gonna have to kind of like figure out something to do. That seems like to me the process the show's going in once she realizes.
Eggs Benedict's stupid little strand of hair will be explained in his backstory.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
So I think I heard somewhere that they're making a second season. Is that true, or is it just the 13 episodes that's like a whole show?
Let me see. I mean, right now only there's 2 movies too, by the way.
I know. I was gonna say I know that there's 2 movies, but I don't know if the anime is the show is.
Let me check.
Oh, maybe that's just hearing about the movie.
It has not been announced yet, but to some sources, Kyoto Animation is working on the project.
Oh, cool. Okay. So that means we can't have conclusive, or the next few episodes can't have too conclusive of like the story and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, you're right.
But also,
it may reveal Gilbert being dead. It may not.
I mean, there's also still 7 more episodes to go through, I believe. Yeah, 7. Yeah. So we still have time. They have plenty of time to flesh it out.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so is that basically it? Are we?
Yeah, that's it. All right, guys. Thank you for joining us for the Anime Watchlist podcast. Next week we'll cover the rest of the show and give our final thoughts, as long as our favorite episode of what we like the most. I'm Ian. I've been Ian.
I have been Aiden. I don't know if I'll stay Aiden.
Yeah, I don't know. I might be Emily tomorrow. Who knows?
Who knows?
Okay, don't make fun of me. Okay. This is the Anime Watchers podcast. Signing off.
See you guys.
Bye.